What's going on? And welcome to episode 1 of The Transmission. I'm super, super pumped for this. And this was an inspired idea that I got this morning. A new podcast, a new YouTube series of content that is really daily drops of wisdom, of strategies, of insights, things that I've discovered along my own journey of growing and scaling businesses, supporting our clients. And my vision for this is really that it becomes like a daily dose of inspiration that helps you calibrate to a new frequency, helps you anchor in to a new chapter in your business. Regardless of where you are, maybe you're early on in your business journey, or maybe you've grown and scaled past 7 figures and you're ready for that next level. There's going to be so much here for you. And I'm super pumped for this. And in episode 1, I want to kick things off by talking about perfectionism because as I'm recording this right now, we actually have our roof being redone here. So we have these guys who are on top of our roof who have been banging and banging and banging all day and yesterday. And it's this moment where I had this inspired desire to want to share this and record this. And then there's a part of me that's like, you know what? They're probably going to hear like this banging, and should I wait for the perfect time? And it was a moment where I had that choice point. And this is something that I see so often in working and mentoring with entrepreneurs, as well as something that I've really discovered along my own journey of business growth. When I look back on when I first got started publishing content online, back in 2016, I started a YouTube channel. I was teaching people how to record and mix their own music online, and I published hundreds of YouTube videos teaching people how to mix and how to record. And that was my main source of lead flow at that point in my business. And I was so focused on getting the perfect take every single time I would record. It was like I would re-record things like 52,000 times. And I remember I would batch record YouTube content, and I'd do like 5 videos at once on a day. And at the end of the day, I'd feel completely exhausted because I was focused so much on trying to get everything right. And when I watch those videos, what I see is a lot of polished perfection today. A lot of stuff that looks really good, but doesn't really have a lot of humanity and life force. And what I discovered over time, as I started showing up in my business and seeing what was landing and what was connecting with people and what was actually creating those moments where like someone was like, oh, I want to work with you. It was almost never the super polished stuff. It was actually the stuff where it was like, I was just on a walk and I just had this inspired idea, and I pulled out my phone and I was like, I don't know, with my dog, and like, stumbling through the walk while I was trying to record this idea. And there was just like a rawness and a realness and an authenticity to the expression that people really felt like they could connect with me, not just because of what I was sharing, but me as a human being. And so my intention with the transmission, with these daily downloads, is I want this to be a space where I can just show up like I am doing right now, flubs and all, and just be able to record what's alive for me, because there's something incredibly magical that happens in a business when you give yourself the permission to show up in a way that's raw, that's real, that's unpolished, and let go of this idea of everything you do having to be so perfect, and actually realize that the most magnetic thing is often the imperfection. I remember I signed up for a coaching program. This was probably like 2017 or 2000. No, it was probably like 2021, somewhere around there. And I remember signing up for this program, and there was like a welcome video that you got from the coach who ran the program. And in this video, it was like a vertical video on his iPhone, and his kids were screaming in the background. And he was like, stop, hold on, I'm trying to record this video. And he was like sharing the things that he was trying to tell people in the video while like his kids were going crazy in the background. And I remember the feeling that I had when I watched that video. The first thing was like, wow, this is so magnetic. This is so magnetic, because how many videos online are like these perfectly polished things, right? And like you don't actually feel someone, because they have this idea that like the perfection is actually what makes people want to buy or connect with you, and like they've whitewashed their humanity out of the whole thing. But actually in seeing this video, I was like, oh, this is so raw and so real, and I feel so connected to this human being, because now I see that he's actually a human being and he has a life. and he's got kids. And there was so much magnetism in that. The other thing it did was it gave me so much permission. It was like, oh, I could do this in my business too. Like maybe not everything has to be so polished. And so over time, what I've done is I've let go more and more of all of these layers of performance, all of these parts of me that felt like I needed to show up in this like really polished, perfectly manufactured way. And I found so much freedom in just being able to show up and be myself. It also has allowed me to create so much faster because I'm not slowing everything down with the layers of rigidity, the layers of intellectual control that cut off my life force. And when you start showing up in this way in your business, people feel you completely differently. There's like an energy, there's a life force. When I talk about magnetism in business, we're about to run an incredible live experience, by the way. If you haven't signed up for this, you're not on my email as you let me know on magnetism. It's going to be a 3-week live immersive experience where I'm going to go deep into the art and science of creating magnetism in your business. In other words, how to create that effect where someone sees you on camera and they're like, I just want to pay attention to you. Like you ever have that thing that happens when you're scrolling through Instagram and suddenly you see a video that just makes you stop, like a reel? You're just like, oh, there's something about this person that just draws me in. That magnetism, what it's really about is allowing someone else to feel you. It's about showing up in a way where you're not so in your head trying to get it all right, trying to like read off a script. I don't use scripts for anything in my business anymore. I used to, but I don't anymore because I realized the most important thing is the feeling. And when I'm reading off a script, when I'm trying to get everything right, when I'm polishing the expression so much to the point where it actually becomes sterile, it becomes cut off from that life force, people can't feel me. And people don't trust what they can't feel. So there's something magical that happens in your business when you give yourself permission to show up in a way that is raw, that is real, that is unpolished, when rather than trying to whitewash out all of the flubs, the roofers going across the roof, like banging on your ceiling while you're recording the video, you welcome that in, you invite that in, you bring your audience in, you let that become a part of your expression. There's something so magnetic about that. And it will create more attraction. It will allow people to connect with you on an even deeper level. My partner, Kimberly, has worked with this coach on and off for the last few years. And I think Kimberly told me this. One of the things that made her decide to work with this coach was she had made this like offhand comment in one of her reels or YouTube videos or something where she was like, you know what? I never close any drawers in my house. It's like the drawers are always like half open. And if you know Kimberly, by the way, you will know that we have this running joke in our house because everything's always like half open. The drawers are always half open. The caps like on the bottles. It's like you go into like the fridge and you try to pull out like a bottle of, I don't know, like sauce or something. And it's like the cap just falls off because it's like never screwed on. And I've had so many conversations with Kimberly. I'm like, please, please, can you just like screw everything on all the way? But this is just like a weird little quirk about Kimberly. But when she heard that in this coach, suddenly she had this moment of connection, right? And so when we talk about what allows people to really feel connected to you, oftentimes it's these little touch points that can't be manufactured, but come through when you're just showing up in a way that's unpolished, that's real, that's raw, when you bring the fullness of your humanity to the table, rather than trying to show up as this like perfectly manufactured, whitewashed thing, you allow somebody else to really feel you. This changes everything in business. This changes everything. So reflecting on your content today, how you're showing up, asking yourself, and there's no shame and judgment around this. Am I whitewashing too much of myself out of how I'm showing up? Am I so focused on trying to get all the words right, on trying to perfectly dial in my message and say what I think I need to say in order to get clients, that I forgot that my greatest asset is my magnetism, it's my humanity, it's what happens when I show up just being who I am. The most attractive thing is me not trying to be so polished. It's the thing that I can't control when I get out of the way and I just allow other people to really feel me. By the way, this is a sneak peek into what we're doing over the next few weeks in this new Magnetism Live experience. I will include a link down below in the description to the registration page for this. And you can sign up. It's just gonna be so incredible. It's $11. It's like an immersive live experience where we're gonna have multiple calls where you can connect and be in a community with other people who are on this journey, learning how to be more magnetic in business. Really, what it's actually about is dismantling all of these layers of performance, of manufacturing, of trying to be something so you can show up in this way that's just radiantly, fully, unapologetically you. And magic happens when you do this. You attract more clients. You get so many more people who are reaching out to you who are like, I want to buy from you because I feel deeply connected to you. It becomes so much easier to attract and magnetize people into your business instead of feeling like you're like pushing and grinding and hustling and like trying to like get clients, which is what 99% of business owners on the planet spend all their time doing. They're like, oh man, this feels like such a grind. Well, it's because you're so cut off in your expression that like other people can't feel you. So you got to go out and like hunt for them. That's what happens when you don't have this piece in place. So I would love for you to join us inside Magnetic, this new live experience challenge. It's going to be just going to be so much fun. And I'm so excited for what's to come here. These daily transmissions, this podcast, this YouTube channel. This is just the beginning. And I invite you to join me along for this ride. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can go ahead and click subscribe. If you're listening to the podcast feed, you can go ahead and subscribe there. I appreciate you leaving a review too. It really helps. And my intention is just to literally show up and share on a daily basis these live, like, essentially like what we did today, these live transmissions, just as things come through, keep it really organic, conversational, and really let you in on the behind the scenes of what it actually takes to grow and scale a thriving business with authenticity, with soul, with spirit, with heart. It's so much fun, and I can't wait to share more with you. So I will see you on the other side in our next transmission. And in the meantime, I'm so grateful that you're here.